All right, welcome to the Airborne Podcast. My name's Quinn Dillinger. I'm here with Chris Lewis. We're both members of the freestyle aerial ski team.
Yeah, aerial skiing is a sport where you go 35 miles an hour into the jump, go 60 feet in the air, and doing triple backflips, doing up to 5 full twists. So, we're going to do a podcast here, and we just thought we'd join in and give you guys a behind the scenes look at our sport, at the flips, the twists, the crashes, and being athletes traveling and competing for Team USA.
Yeah, so we're super excited to give you guys an inside look at what's going to be going on week to week on the World Cup Tour. It's going to be a lot of craziness. We're have a lot of good stops this year. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, so last year we started off our season in Ruka, Finland, where we're starting off this year. Then we went to Canada, then Deer Valley, our home World Cup. Moved on to Bakarani, Georgia for World Championships. Then went to St. Moritz, Switzerland. Finished it off in Almaty, Kazakhstan. And for me, speaking about my season, it was up and down season, a lot of good competitions, jumped in a lot of rounds. Our competitions are broken up into heats. So the first round, everybody will do the qualifications. Then it will cut to 12. Then from there, cutting to 6, and then one jump for the win. So 2 podiums for me. But I want to talk about your season, Quinn, because you had a hell of a year and really kind of hit the scene. So go through it for us.
Yeah, so starting the year off, Ruka really didn't go so hot, didn't jump how I wanted to, but was able to turn that around in Canada with my first ever World Cup victory, which was super exciting. Was amazing to put that in my belt and just get the year started off how I really wanted to. And then moving on, went to World Champs in Bakarani, Georgia, which was the first time we'd ever been there. Didn't know what to expect.
Really good food in Bakarani, Georgia. The food and the people were top
Awesome.
notch.
Awesome. It was an amazing experience being over there. The weather, though, weather was not
Yeah, the
ideal.
weather did not cooperate with us. So we did our first team event competing as a team and were able to take home the gold. That was day one. But you really had that personal success on day two. So talk about that.
Yeah, so day two, which was really a few days after, because we had a few weather days in between there, which was not ideal. But a few days after, we competed in the individual event, and I was able to snag second place. So I was able to have a double medal at my first World Championships ever, which was incredible. Couldn't have asked for a better result going in there,
And
and
in some gnarly weather, too. I mean, I was in that super final. It was one of the worst weather for competitions that I've ever competed in my 8 years on World Cup tours. So definitely a tough event. And then so for being a younger guy, not a rookie, but a younger guy hitting the scene and putting those big tricks down, kind of the surprise of the podium.
yeah, it was a little bit of a shock, but at the same time, I knew what I was capable of, and it wasn't a surprise to me or my coach. So it was a great experience going in there and getting that done. But at the end of the day, we're looking forward to this upcoming year and seeing what's possible. I know I ended the year fifth overall, and you were just in front of me, fourth overall. So I know we're both looking to turn those numbers up a little bit higher.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I really just got to execute at a slightly higher level at the end of the competitions. If you follow along with aerials, I was able to jump in almost every round of every competition that we did this year without, with the exception of our home World Cup, which was also not exciting. But so having that consistency early in the competition was really nice and something I want to take into this year. But just executing that big trick at the end of the competition was something I was kind of missing out on last season. And I'm looking to hopefully, remedy that issue this year.
It'll be interesting to see what you can pull off this year. Seeing as I'm right on your heels, giving you that extra little bit of motivation.
And, just a shout out to the whole competition. The quality and the degree of difficulty is so high these days that if you're not able to execute at the very top of our sport, you're not going to be at the top of the podium. So a lot of pressure in that regard, as far as benchmarks and what kind of jumper you got to be. But I think our team is really exciting. just to talk about our summer season, we just got done with our summer season and training from May to October on a synthetic surface, doing the same speed and height jumps that we do in the snow, but just landing in a pool. How are you feeling? I mean, you were grinding away.
Yeah, this summer was a big one for sure. I was moving on to a new trick. I was moving on to quintuple twisting triple backflip. The variation I was doing was double full, full, double full, so 2-1-2. And I've been watching you do that the past couple of years, and it's been giving me inspiration to get up there and go after that big final trick, I would say, for that I need to be ultra competitive on that world championship Olympic level. And I'm looking forward to doing that this winter. But looking back on the summer, it was a really productive summer with getting in good training hours and being productive at a very high level. So
Yeah, and I feel like watching you train really pushed me as well. You know, you being a younger guy that I watched jump and watch grow up and do his first World Cups and doubles and triples. And now you're up in some sessions, Quinn, you were doing 15 flips and 25 twists and 5 jumps. So just absolutely hammering away at those Quinn twisting triples. And, for the good and the bad, do you feel like that kind of numbed you up mentally and got you ready for this winter to go put it down where you just done it so many times that like you can push through that fear?
you will never do enough repetitions on a trick to make you truly feel ready to do on snow. There's always that shredded doubt in the back of your mind that's like, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? But at the end of the day, you just got to trust those numbers. You got to trust your training and trust your ability that when you go and try and do that new trick on snow, it goes well. And typically, when you go up for a new trick, I don't know about you, but for me at least, I almost get this like cat-like instinct that just always helps me land on my feet. It's not always the
I've
best
definitely
looking.
experienced that on my first try before.
Yeah,
And
it's
I would
not.
also say it kind of just pushes your commitment to the sport where even if you crash, it's worth it and it's worth the risk and you're going to go try again. So I always say it always hurts worse in your mind than it does in real life. The imagining a crash is always worse than the actual experience of it. And we take our fair share of crashes.
Yeah, so definitely looking forward to that five twist, and it's scary if you're not scared going up to that triple and looking down at that thing. Honestly, there's something wrong with you. I know every athlete up there has a little bit of fear in them, but it's our job to conquer that fear and go out there and perform the jumps.
Yeah, and if we've grabbed you at any point in this, just some of the terms that we use, like triple, our jumps are designed for the amount of flips you're going to do. So single, double, and triple are, pretty normal terms. And starting off on that triple, your very first jump of the day is going to be a 60-foot double twisting or single twisting triple backflip. And so it's a pretty aggressive style of warm up, no straight airs, no 360s, nothing like that. And so with that being said, we just finished up our summer season and I was talking about how exciting our team is. And I think some of the reason is outside of this room with some of the girls that we have moving up to the triple kicker in Winter Vinecki and Kayla Kuhn. And they'll be the first girls in 10 years that are going to be going off that triple.
Yes, it's Ashley
And
Caldwell in 2013.
yeah, and so that's a huge step. They've been grinding on that all summer. I'm excited, I'm nervous, but it should be a huge step for our team. What do you think?
Yeah, it'll be super exciting to watch them go up and send it off the triple this winter. I've been watching them grind this summer. They have been up there hammering triples. They probably did more jumps than me. I don't know about twists, but they probably did more flips than me this summer because they were up there day in, day out, chipping away at those triples. So I know that they're probably feeling pretty confident going into this winter, but it'll be super, super exciting to watch what they have in store for us.
And I think that when you talk about girls going up to the triple and we talk about you doing your first quintuple twisting triple backflips, um, that's all because of the raising of the sport overall. Those girls are not doing it for no reason. They want to win an Olympics, they want to win world championships and overall medals. And so just being willing to train and take that risk with your body physically. I'd say 90% of women never take that step up to the triples. So it's inspiring, and they're going to get to come jump with the boys. We
Yeah.
always talk about the boys are on the triple and the girls are on the double. In our team, that's going to be changing a little bit. We're going to
Yeah.
have a good amount of our female team on the triple with us and really jumping together.
Well, it just goes to show the level of competition for women in aerials is going up. To be competitive on that highest level, like the Olympics or world champs, excuse me, you need those triples. You have to be competing triples to want to win that first place. So it's just inevitable for them to get up there, and I'm just excited that they're doing it this early in the Olympic cycle, and that they'll have a
Should be in
few.
a good position to get some medals.
Yeah, so they'll have a few years to get the triples done, get some experience. Because I know when I went up for my first triples and was competing them on World Cup, it was a tough transition. It was really tricky. It is a big jump. And I don't just mean like literally, I mean
Figuratively as
it
well.
is going the landing, adjusting for that is different. Takeoffs are different. You got to have a different mindset. Everything is just turned up to 11 on that triple. So I'm it'll be incredible to watch this winter. And I'm also super excited to watch Connor Curran go up for his first triples and Derek Kruger really lock down those quad twisting triple backflips.
Yeah, as well as Justin Schonefeld, my teammate and our teammate, but my teammate from the 2022 Olympic team winning, gold champion team. He'll be taking those quints to snow as well this year. So we got a very stacked team of three guys doing quints, one guy doing multiple quad twisting triples, another guy for his first triples coming up, two girls going up for the triples, several girls doing triple twisting doubles.
Mhm.
And, it's a really exciting time for our team because we're still 2.5 years out for the Olympics. So people still have time to grow and add to their repertoire. And who knows exactly what that Olympic team in 2026 is going to look like.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but only time will tell. And I know that you and me will both do everything in our powers to be on that team event and to be just on the Olympic team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge goal, and every athlete, that's the biggest goal of every 4 years is just qualifying for the Olympics. So we're not quite at that moment where we're doing qualification competitions, but it's always on the mind, especially when you look at girls moving up to triples and trying to set themselves up to be one of not just an Olympic competitor, but an Olympic favorite.
Yeah, so we talked about looking forward to this winter. What about this first competition? What about how are you feeling going into this Ruka, Finland camp? It's always the first camp of the season. Typically doesn't go too well for the U.S. in past few years. How are you feeling?
Yeah, Ruka's been tough on our team. I think all the members of our team would recognize our struggles there. But it's a great place to go jump. It is dark. It's 22 hours of the day dark, so only 2 hours of light. And it's a tough transition when you're there for a month or 5 weeks, but I think it's just a mindset. So it's a tight camp, like you said, and just attacking it is the goal, and just attacking it with whatever you can. And then that first World Cup, December 2nd, I think, will be a big test of not only the work that you put in just in that 3 weeks, but also in the summer period. If you had
Yeah,
a great summer, that's going to be helpful. And I
that
think people are going to be leaning on that.
that hard work that you do in that summer definitely shows. And it'll be interesting to see all the athletes get up to degree of difficulty DD as quickly as possible because that's always how it is. We typically have between 10 and 12 days of actual on snow training before the World Cup. So we got to go from single backflips all the way up to hopefully quintuple twisting, triple backflips, which is a huge
And you're
ask
coming in with
of
jelly
every
legs.
athlete, but we all do our best to conquer it and to show up on comp day as prepared as we possibly can.
And everybody's beat up when you get to comp day in Ruka. It's just a question of how beat up. And then also, how much were you able to push your training to make yourself ready mentally with the degree of difficulty and just getting comfortable with that. Because in our sport, I think it's a huge measure of fear and just mental readiness and being ready to compete in general, but also just managing your fear. And so you want to touch all the tricks that you're going to do in the competition. And that requires you to really put your foot on the gas pedal right out of the gate.
Yeah, you want to give us a little rundown of what our jumping schedule would look like because we're talking about single to quint twisting triple backflip, but people are probably asking like, how do you get there? Like, what are the steps in between? Because that's one level to a completely different level.
Yeah, so we'll get there in November 12th and do a few days of skiing before the site's open and we're ready to take some jumps. And then, depending on the weather and how ready the site is, might not do single backflips at all, might just go right to doubles, but maybe do one session of single backflips, get warmed up, and then you're up to the double and you're doing double backflips. You should move through single, double, and triple twisting double backflips within a couple days and move right on right up to the triple kicker. So a 65-foot double twisting double triple backflip, and then immediately pushing DD all the way through to that quint twist in that 10-day range. So usually we're training in a 2 or a 3-day on and 1 day off package, but it's not rare in Ruka for us to do 4 or 5 days on, just trying to get as many days on snow as possible, getting ready for that event.
And when we do those extended blocks, like you said, those 4 or 5 days blocks, those things are taxing on the body. Because we typically do 3 days on, 1 day off in Utah when we're water ramping throughout the summer. So that's typically kind of what our body is prepared for. But we do occasionally train those longer blocks. But when you're on snow training high difficulty triples, for 4 or 5 days in a row, that toll and that amount of impact just takes a toll on your body and it adds up.
Well, and you're just happy to survive each day on the triple those early days of the year and maybe get back to the apartment and turn on Netflix and just calm down for a few hours. And so to have to do that 4 or 5 days in a row, physically, it's terrible. You feel horrible by the end of it. But mentally, it's also a grind where you get up on day 4 and you're like, oh, well, I already got through my 3-day block. Now I've got to go do another one. So, and it can be a mental grind. And putting that aside and just kind of committing to a date with the competition is a really good way to judge your training. I think is just focusing on the competition date and where you got to be.
Well, it gives you a deadline. Like you have to be
Yeah,
up
it's like
to
a
this
test.
level of trick at this time. If you're not, you'll probably get slayed by the competition. They'll come up there and they will kick your ass.
Yep, and they do. And so, kind of shout out Team Switzerland has had great success there. But I think Team USA is really putting an onus on starting strong in Ruka and, taking that challenge. And I think a gold in Ruka would almost be a little sweeter just because of the struggles that we've had there.
Yeah, if we could pull off some podiums this upcoming Ruka World Cup, that would be amazing. I know that that's what we're striving for and that's what we're aiming for. So anything less would be not that great, but we're not looking at it like that. We're
Well, they
looking
got a
at
great
how,
karaoke bar to celebrate a victory with, not super up to date songs, but, the Arctic Zone is a lot of fun. So,
yeah, looking forward to having a good time there after doing well in the competition.
yeah, hopefully you got to be celebrating or else karaoke's kind of lame.
So, looking forward to our next episode and what we got in store for y'all. Chris, can you tell us who our first guest of the Airborne podcast is going to be?
Yeah, so it's going to be Lewis Irving. He's kind of the veteran of the Canadian team and a good friend, 2-time Olympian, multiple time World Cup medalist. And we're going to kind of break it down and relax with him and talk about what's going on with the entire World Cup tour, what's going on with his team, what's going on with the crashes, how everybody's feeling. And we'll be pretty close to that event in Ruka right there. So it should be an exciting time to have a conversation.
Yeah, it'll be great to have Lewis on. He's one of our best buddies on tour. So it'll be great to have his inside perspective on what's going on with the other teams in Ruka because it's always an absolute bloodbath there. So
Yeah,
it'll
I mean,
be,
even if you do well, Ruka still hurts.
yeah, no matter, even if you land every single one of your jumps, great, your body is still going to hurt when you wake up that next day. You're still going to have those aches and pains no matter how well you did. And that's just what Ruka has in store for us.
Yeah. So looking forward to hopefully having some people tune in and we can update you on where we're at. We'll be out on all the streaming platforms. So drop us a like and, thanks for joining in.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.